Good evening, everybody. I hope that you all are fine. Children, today this will be the last episode, or you can call it the last part of the video series. I have been doing it for last couple of days. Today I'll be taking the rest of the chapter. That means I will start from page number 84 right up to the end of the lesson. That is page number 90. Okay, so almost 6 pages. I'll make it very fast without wasting time. I would like to move on to the lesson. Now let us just see what we have done here. Let me take it from here. The governor. Look at the governor, right? The governor turned to Jackson and Stephens. I don't need to tell you what's happened, do I? His voice sounded almost calm, and in its scathing contempt, scathing means severe contempt, okay, severely critical contempt, C-O-N-T-E-M-P-T, contempt. No, when you are contempting somebody, you are blaming, okay? Contempt means blame. Okay, so here in severe contempt, and which one of you two morons was it who took Evans for a nice little walk to the main gate and waved him bye-bye? Now here, the governor was very critical. He was really very upset. Okay, now, so contempt means hatred or disdain, D-I-S-D-A-I-N. Okay, so in scathing means severe contempt. And which one of you two morons? Now, what is the meaning of moron? Means stupid person. Moron means stupid persons. Was it who took Evans for a nice little walk to the main gates and waved him bye-bye? Means who bade him goodbye? It was me, sir, stammered Stephen. Stephens actually was instructed by the governor himself. That's why he said, it was me, sir, just like you told me, sir. I could have sown. Sown means promise. Okay, P-R-O-M-I-S-E, promise. I could have promised. What? Just like I told you, you say? What the hell? Okay, he couldn't believe. When you rang, sir, and told me to? When was that? The governor's voice was, okay, whiplash now, whiplash. What is the meaning of whiplash? As if hitting with a whip. As if hitting with a whip. Means when जब आप चाबुक से किसी को मारते हो तो जैसे लगता है pain, something like that, no? Whiplash, when you are hitting somebody with a whip. So, sir, about 20 past 11, just before, you blithering, B-L-I-T-H-E-R-I, you blithering idiot, got very angry, Blithering idiot means extremely stupid person. You blithering idiot got very angry. Extremely stupid person, man, stupid man. It wasn't me who rang you. Don't you realize? But what was the use? He had used the telephone at that time, but only to try unsuccessfully once more to get through to the examination board. Actually, so the governor was telling this. He shook his head in growing despair. Despair means hopelessness, and turned on the senior prison officer. Who was the senior prison officer? Jackson. Now here, try to understand this part. Don't you realize? But what was the use? Means why should I call you? He had used the telephone at one time, but only tried to unsuccessfully once more. Okay, unsuccessfully to get through to the examination board. He wanted to contact the examination board regarding that correction slip or any kind of change. He shook his head in growing despair. He was getting more and more depressed and turned on to the senior prison officer, Jackson. And as for you, Jackson, how long have you been pretending you have got a brain? Yeah, well, I'll tell you something, Jackson. Your skull is empty. Got so angry. Your skull is empty. Aapke matha mein bhusi bhara hua hai. Means you don't have any intelligence. Absolutely empty. It was Jackson who had spent 2 hours in Evans' cell the previous evening, and it was Jackson who had confidently reported that there was nothing hidden away there. Nothing at all. And yet, Evans had somehow managed to conceal not only a false beard, a pair of spectacles, a dog collar, and all the rest of his clerical paraphernalia. What is paraphernalia? Paraphernalia means all different kinds of miscellaneous articles. Paraphernalia means miscellaneous articles means all different kinds of things that were needed for his makeup and dress up. But also some sort of weapon with which he had given McLeery such a terrible blow across the head. Okay, A-U-R-R-J. This is actually exclamatory sound. Okay, so he was very, very excited and very, very depressed also, you can say, because of this escape. A prison van backed alongside, but the governor made no immediate move. He looked down again at the last line of the German. To the Headington roundabout, where you go straight over and make your way to New. Now he was reading actually. Okay, New Graben. Where on earth? New something, New Grave. Never heard of it. No, he was reading that. There was a war grave. There was a war grave somewhere near Reading, but no, it was probably a code word. Or then it hit him, Newbury. God, yes, Newbury was a pretty big sort of a place. Okay. And he was trying to guess from the governor was trying to look at that German, and he was trying to guess which place they have been to. He rapped out his order. When you rap out your order means when you rap out, you speak it loudly and suddenly and sharply. He rapped out his orders to the driver. St. Aldets police station. This is the name of the place. St. Aldets police station, and step on it. Okay, step on it means when you step on means especially you order somebody, tell somebody to drive fast, and step on means he ordered the driver to move very fast to St. Aldets police station and take Jackson and Stephens here. And when you get there, ask for Bell, Chief Inspector Bell. Got it? He leaped the stairs to his office 3 at a time. He was very much in a hurry, so he just jumped 3 steps together. Okay, got Bell on the phone. Now he just called Bell. Who was Bell? Bell was the chief inspector, right? Bell on the phone immediately and put the facts before him. He just told him everything. "We'll get him, sir. We will get him, sir," said Bell. "We'll get him with a bit of luck." Okay, we'll get him with a bit of luck. We need a little bit of luck to get him. The governor sat back and lit a cigarette. Yeah, gods, what a beautifully laid plan. Okay, beautifully laid plan means the plan was laid or schemed or hatched in a very clever manner, right? It had all been. What a clever fellow Evans was. Careless, leaving that question paper. Okay, so he was telling he was a very clever fellow, but he was very clever leaving back the question paper. I know, actually the question paper was also left behind to mislead. There was some misleading things also. So leaving behind that question paper behind. But then they all made their mistakes somewhere along the line. Well, almost all of them. And that's why very, very slowly Mr. Clever Evans could be back inside doing his once more. So he was telling. Alright. The phone on the desk erupted in a strident burst. Right, erupted. Now here's erupted means rang loudly. You can call it erupted in a strident burst. You can call it metaphor, or even you can call it circumlocution. Right, circumlocution. Circumlocution means when you say the same simple thing in a very long roundabout way. Erupted in a stride, S-T-R-I-D, in strident burst means when something is strident burst means loud and harsh grating sound. Okay, it is onomatopoeia, only this part, burst, erupted. Actually, you can also call it metaphor because it is being compared as if it was a volcanic eruption, the sound. The phone on the desk erupted in a strident burst, and Superintendent Carter informed him that McLeery had spotted Evans driving off along Elsfield Way. Okay, they had got the number of the car all right and had given chase immediately, but had lost him at the Headington roundabout. Roundabout means the turning point. I mean, where take a turn. Right, the road, there is a rotary, you can also say rotary, roundabout. He must have doubled back into the city. Double back means when you double back, you come back. So came back, you can say came back into the city. Double back into the city. No, said the governor quietly. No, he is on his way to Newbury. Governor was sure that he might have been to Newbury. He explained his reasons for believing so and left it at that. It was a police job now to look for him, not his. He was just another good for a gullible governor. Good for giggle, gullible governor. So many G sound has been used, so you can call it alliteration. Alliteration. And he was a good for giggle. Giggle means laughter. Gullible means somebody who believes people very, very easily. Naive, right? Gullible means naive. He was a good for giggle, gullible governor. Means he was not a very efficient governor. That was all. By the way, Carter, I hope you managed to get McLeery to the hospital all right? Yes, he is in the Radcliffe now. Radcliffe is the name of the hospital. Really groggy. Groggy means dodged and weak. Okay, really groggy. Groggy means you can say dazed and weak, not dodged. Dazed, D-A-Z-E-D, dazed, and weak, W-E-A-K, weak. He was very weak. When we got to the examination office, and they rang for the ambulance from there. So they rang from the office, they rang for the ambulance for whom? For Evans. For McLeery, so-called McLeery. Okay, managed to get McLeery, but actually this McLeery was Evans, right? E-V-A-N-S, Evans. So they wanted to get him to the hospital. Name the hospital is Radcliffe by ambulance from there. The governor rang the Radcliffe a few minutes later and asked for the accident department. McLeery, you say? Yes. He is a person. Person means clergy. C-L-E-R-G-Y. Clergy. He is a clergy. Okay. I don't think there is anyone. Yes, there is. You will find one of your ambulances picked him up from Elsfield Way about. Oh, that. Yes. We sent an ambulance. All right. But when we got there, the fellow had gone. No one seemed to know where he was. Just vanished. No sign, not a sign. So, actually, here McLeery, so-called McLeery, Evans had escaped from there. Okay, so there was no sign. But the governor was no longer listening, and the truth seemed to hit him with an almost physical impact somewhere in the back of his neck. Means he was very much shocked to hear this, that McLeery, so-called McLeery, he also escaped. He never went to the hospital. Now his doubt was doubled. A quarter of an hour later, they found the Reverend S. McLeery, Stuart McLeery, securely bound and gagged. Securely means very, very carefully, securely bound and gagged. When you gag somebody, you just, you can just put something inside the mouth, no, so that he cannot talk, right? That is called gagged securely. So Radcliffe, so quarter of an hour securely gagged in his study. Okay, gagged means when you put something inside the mouth so as to he will not be able to talk, right? So here, a quarter of an hour later, they found Reverend McLeery, Stuart McLeery, securely, very, very securely, means safely, you can say. He was bound and he was tied up there, bound and gagged in his study. Study means study room in Broad Street. He had been there, he said, since 8:15 a.m. when the two men had called and ... That means these two men came and tied him and you can say and gagged him. Enquiries in Newbury throughout the afternoon produced nothing. That means there was no result or positive result, nothing at all. And by the tea time, everyone in the prison knew what had happened. It had not been Evans impersonating McLeery who had walked out. It had been Evans impersonating McLeery who had stayed in. Now it was clear. Evans, so-called Evans impersonating McLeery who had walked out. Stephens helped him to go out. It was not Evans. It had been Evans impersonating McLeery who had stayed inside the cell, and it was Mr. Carter only, Detective Carter only had taken him to the hospital, but actually from there he escaped. So who had stayed in? The fish and chips were delicious, and after a little, now here we have some part, the change of scene. The fish and chips were delicious, and after a gentle stroll round the center of Chipping Norton, Evans decided to return to the hotel and have an early night. Have an early night means to go to bed early. Now fish and chips. Now Evans was having a good time, delicious food and chips and everything after the gentle stroll. Stroll means a casual walk when you walk after your meal, after your food, casually, carelessly. So that's called stroll around the center of Chipping Norton. Evans decided to return to the hotel and have an early night. Early night means go to bed early night. A smart new hat concealed the wreckage of closely cropped hair. A smart new hat. Actually, he was wearing bubble hat. Now he took another new hat. Concealed means covered. Okay, or hid. H-I-D, hid. The wreckage of his closely cropped hair. Wreckage means the damage of his closely cropped. Closely cropped means short, very short, cut very short. Okay, and closely cropped, you can say alliteration again. Sound of C is repeated, consonant sound. Closely cropped hair, and he kept it on as he walked up to the reception. Kept it on means kept the hat on as he walked up to the reception desk for the Golden Lion. This is the name of the hotel where he was putting up. It would take a good while for his hair to regain its former glory. That means he had unfortunately to cut the head short in order to look like Mr. McLeery, Stuart McLeery. But the poor fellow, he lost his long hair. Those glorious long hair would take much time to grow again. So this is what regain its former glories. But what the hell did that matter? What the hell did that matter? Means he was escaped. He is out now. He was out again, wasn't he? A bit of bad luck. What was the bad luck? That when Jackson had pinched his scissors. Pinch means stole. When you steal somebody's things, no? When you pinch somebody's thing, that is called stealing, right? So Jackson has pinched means when you take somebody's something without telling him, that's called pinched his scissors, for it had meant a long and tricky operation with his only razor. So he had to use the razor to cut his hair, razor blade the previous night. So he did that one previous night. But okay, he had his good luck. He had it good luck too. Just think, if Jackson had made him take his bubble hat off, phew, that really had been a close call. Means it was a narrow escape. Narrow, narrow, escape, narrow escape. Otherwise he would have been caught and his whole plan would have been cancelled. Still, old Jackson wasn't such a bad fellow. Now Evans knew that Jackson always had a soft corner for him. Okay, one of the worst things, funny really, had been the bed. Okay, he had always been allergic to sticking plaster. He was feeling irritation because of the sticking plaster, and even now his chin was irritatingly sore and red. Sore and red means, you can say, painful and red. Sore means painful. Okay, painful and red. Why red? Because he had to take off those makeups and all those things, so it was irritating and it was red in color. The reception, it wasn't the same girl who had booked him in, but the change was definitely for better. As he collected his key, he gave her the best smile, told her he wouldn't be bothering with breakfast, ordered the Daily Express, is the name of the newspaper, and asked for an early morning call at 6:45 a.m. Tomorrow was going to be another busy day. So he gave all this instruction to the receptionist who was at the reception counter, and this was another lady, not the one who had been the previous day when he came in, checked in. He whistled softly to himself as he walked up the broad stairs. So he was in a very happy-go-lucky mood. He was in a very free and jovial mood. Softly he was whistling and walking. Okay, you'd sort of, okay, he had sort of liked the idea of being dressed up as a minister. He had sort of liked the idea of being dressed up as a minister. Minister means clergy, dog collar and everything. Yeah, it had been a jolly good idea for McLeery to wear two black fronts, two collars. Okay, so he was trying to cherish and feeling very happy about the makeup and disguise and all those things. No, two collars, two black fronts for the clergy. No, but that's top collar. Phew, it had kept on slipping off the back stud. Stud means the button. No, the one that was hooking up the collar of the clergy. Okay, and there'd been that one panicky moment. Panicky means very scary moment, when McLeery had only just got his hand up to his neck in time to stop the collar springing apart. Means opening apart, means the collar was about to open up because of the stud was not working properly. Apart, okay, springing apart means opening apart before Stephens was looking through the peephole. No, they had got that little problem worked out all right. Means they managed that situation. Though a pen struck in the mouth, though a pen struck in the mouth whenever the evil eye. Now whose evil eye? Stephen's evil eye. Evil eye, you can call it assonance, because repetition of E sound, evil eye. Now here you can also say even eye is metaphor. It is the eye of Stephen's evil eye, and had appeared at the peephole. Easy, but all that fiddling about under the blanket. Now this was one part of it, that slipping of the collar, easy. But all that fiddling means when you are fiddling, you are fidgeting. Fidgeting, fidgeting. No, fiddling means fidgeting about under the blanket with the black front and the stud at the back of the collar. So he was getting himself ready with the collar and with the black front, means the part of the clergy, makeup of the clergy inside the blanket. No, that regulation blanket. That had been far more difficult than they had ever bargained for. Bargain for means they had ever expected something to happen. Bargain means expected something to happen too. So it was more difficult than they had ever bargained for. Bargain for means to expect something to happen, and to be prepared for this. Bargain for means they had expected that this might happen, but it was more than that. Everything else had gone beautifully, smoothly, though. In the car, he had found everything. They had promised him: soap, water, clothes, and map. Yes, map, of course. The Ordnance Survey map. What is Ordnance Survey map of Oxfordshire? It's actually a military map, These are used by the military persons, and it gives you meticulous details of a particular place so that you can locate that place, go to that place without any problem. So, Ordnance Survey map of Oxfordshire. You had got some good friends, some very clever friends. Christ. So Evans always had been helped by his friends who had been outside, and they had been trying to help him, meticulously giving him great details so that he could escape. He unlocked his bedroom door and closed it quietly behind him, and then stood frozen to the spot, like a man who has just caught a glimpse of a Gorgon. What is Gorgon? Gorgon is a monster. Actually, it is a mythical character. It is allusion, you can say, indirect hint or reference. What is a Gorgon? It is in Greek mythology, one of the three sisters with snakes on their heads. So Gorgon. In Hindi में हम क्या कह सकते हैं? जैसे भूत देख लिया. Gorgon, actually, it's a mythical Greek mythological character. Actually, there were three sisters, and they had snakes on their heads. They looked very ugly and very scary. So glimpse means look of Gorgon. Who was the Gorgon? Here you can call it metaphor again. Who? Sitting on the narrow bed was the very last man in the world that Evans had expected. Who was that very last man? The governor he wanted to see. Or wanted to see. It was not, okay? It was not trying, wanted to see. It's not worth trying anything, said the governor. So governor was there quietly, as Evans' eyes darted desperately. Again, it is alliteration. Around the room means turning from one side to another side. Darted desperately. What is the meaning of desperately? Desperately means in great need. Darted means moved around the room. I've got men all around the place. Well, there were only two really, but Evans didn't know that. Actually, the governor told lie. He told that I have men all around this place, so don't try to escape. But actually, there were only two men, governor himself and Evans. Well, there were only two really, but Evans didn't know that. What was the need of knowing that? He let the word sink in. Means when you let something sink in means realize, right? R-E-A-L-I-Z-E, realize. Women too. Okay, women too. Now actually here women too means men, no? Here it is written, well, there were only two really, but Evans didn't know that. And he let the word sink in. Women too. Women too means, governor is saying, governor quietly said, Evans' eyes darted. Look at this, I've got men all around the place. And then he said, women too. Not only men, women are also there. Didn't you think the blonde girl, the reception was rather sweet? So maybe this girl was also the part of governor's team. But actually it will be not so. You will see this. Even was visibly shaken. Visibly shaken means you could understand by looking at his appearance that he was shaken, means he was nervous. He sat down slowly in the only chair the small room could offer and held his head between his hands. It shows his nervousness. For several minutes there was utter silence. Utter means complete silence. Nobody talked. Now this is the picture you can see. This is the situation. Governor is sitting and Evans was inside. Finally he spoke. It was that bloody correction sleep, I suppose. Now he is trying to spot his mistake. What was the correction sleep? Well, the governor failed to mask the deep satisfaction in his voice. Mask means cover, means he was as if going to feel very, very satisfied in his attempt to catch Evans. So he said, well, there are a few people who know a little German. Yes, it is a sarcasm, you can say. It is a kind of sarcastic remark. You don't think that you only know German, I also know. Slowly, very slowly, Evans relaxed. He was beaten. He was beaten means he was defeated. He was exhausted, defeated in his plan. And he knew it. He sat up at last and managed to smile ruefully. When you are trying to smile ruefully, you are slowly, he managed. He managed to, now ruefully means regretfully. You can say regret, ruefully means regretfully. 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 It wasn't really a mistake. You see, we hadn't been able to fix up any hotel. Okay, it was not a mistake. We were not able to fix up a hotel. But we could have worked that some other way. No, the really important thing was for the phone to ring just before the exam finished. That was more important, to get everyone out of the way for a couple of minutes. Okay, so we had to know exactly when the exam started, didn't we? So that was more important thing in the question paper. Okay, so no, really important thing was for the phone to ring just before the exam finished. When the phone would ring, that time, that ringing of the phone would make the governor and the others busy in the conversation and all other arrangements, and that would give Evans to escape, right? So we had to know exactly when the exam started, didn't we? And like a fool, I presented you with that little piece of information on a plate. Acha, now the governor said, then I was a fool. I gave you the information. What information? That the exam started a quarter of an hour ago. That was the information given to you. Well, somebody did. Yes, if you not, somebody else did. So you see, sir, that correction sleep killed two little birds with a single stone, didn't it? Yes, this is a kind of proverb. You say you kill two birds with one stone, didn't it? Didn't it? Tag question. The name of the hotel for me in that correction sleep and the exact time of the exam started. So they could understand that the exam started, the exam started a quarter of an hour ago. That indicated. So when the exam started, they could understand, and they calculated 2 hours with that, and then they understood when the examination was going to be over. And just a few minutes before the examination, they were going to ring the phone and got to be very alert because Evans would be going out. The governor nodded. It's a pretty common word, right? It's a pretty common word. Good job. It's a pretty common word, sir. Or I'd never have known where to come to. Would I? I could not. Nice name, though. Zom, Golden and Loven. No? So, governor nodded. It's a pretty common word. What pretty common word? That to tell. Good job. It's a pretty common, sir. Or I'd never known where to come to. Would I? Means where he was supposed to go to, which hotel, he couldn't know. Nice name though. Zom, Golden and Loven. How did you know which hotel, which Golden Lion it was? There's hundreds of them. Okay, now this Evan asks, same as you, Evans, index number 313, center number 271. Remember 6 figures? This is actually grid reference, children. Grid reference means, in geography, if you want to find out the location of a place, you have 4 figure, 6 figure, even 8 figure grid reference, which helps you to locate the place. So with the help of this grid reference, easting and nodding, first 3 called easting, then this 3 called nodding. So with the help of this, I got this And if you take an ordnance survey map of Oxfordshire, you will find that the 6-figure reference 313/271 lands you bang in the middle of Chipping Norton. Yeah, you are right, huh? We had hoped you would run off to Newbury. We thought that you would go to Newbury. We did. Well, that's something, I suppose. That question paper, Evans, could you really understand all that German? I could hardly. Okay, no, of course I couldn't. I knew roughly what it was all about, but we just open it, throw a few spanners in the works. Okay, you know, it is a meaning of. Now what happened? Just try to understand this first. No, he never understood the question paper. No, cause I couldn't. I knew roughly what it was all about, but we just hoped it to throw a few spanners in the works. Few spanners. Now what is the meaning? To prevent something happening smoothly in a way that was planned. So, he said, but we just hoped means we hoped that it would throw a few spanners, means it would not put us in trouble. Okay, few spanners in the works. What was the work? Their plan of escape. Sort of muddle everybody a bit, means to make everybody confused. Muddle means to make confused. So he said, no, of course, that I knew roughly German language, so that was all about, but we just hoped you to throw a few spanners in the works. Now, when you throw few spanners, throwing few spanners means to prevent something happening smoothly in a way that was planned. Okay, so it would a few spanners, so it would throw a few spanners in the works, means this would disturb the people so that they cannot manage to catch me. A sort of muddle everybody a bit, means a few. So now let me ask you, it was all about, but we just hoped it would throw a few spanners in the works. It would try to disturb the people, those who are in the work of God or work of invigilating me, to a sort of muddle everybody a bit, to confuse everybody, right? The governor stood up. Tell me one thing before we go. How on earth did you get all that blood to pour over your head? Even suddenly looked a little happier. Clever, huh, sir? Very clever was. How? To get a couple of pints of blood into a cell, when there is none there to start off with, and when the invigilator. Okay, so he was being very happy about this. Clever, sir, very clever that was. Wow, to get a couple of pint of blood into a cell. Into the cell means prison cell, when there is none. Okay, when there is none there to start off with, and when the invigilator, like that he was trying to call, when the invigilator, shall we say, gets searched before it comes in. Okay, shall we say gets searched before it comes in? Yes, sir, you can well ask about that, and I do not. If I ought to tell you, I do not means I don't know whether I will tell you. After all, I might want to use that particular anything to do with little rubbering. Actually, here Evans was trying to confuse the governor by not clearly telling what was exactly the method and process of bringing blood into the cell. Then again, governor said, anything to do with a little rubbering for piles perhaps? Evans grinned feebly. Grin means smiled, S-M-I-L-E-D. Smiled feebly means weakly. Actually, he didn't want to clearly tell the governor what exactly the method was to. So he was talking here in roundabout manner, right? Now here, anything to do with a little rubbering for piles perhaps? Evans grinned feebly. Clever though, wasn't it? Must have been a tricky job. Tricky job means it was a really clever idea. Sticking a couple of pints, it is a clever job. Sticking a pint of, pint is a kind of quantity, right? It is quantity, it is liquid measured. So must have been a tricky job sticking a couple of pints. You've got it wrong, sir. No problem about that. No. So must have been tricky job sticking a couple of pint. Pint is a quantity. Liquid is measured. No, you have got it wrong. No, sir. No problem about that. No. It's the clotting. Clotting means when it gets solidified. No, clotting means the blood gets solidified. No, that is called clotting. You see, that's a big trouble. We got the blood easy enough. Pig's blood it was, from the slaughter's house in Kidlington. But to stop it clotting, you have got to mix your actual blood. Evans took a bread with 1/10 of its own volume of 3.8% trisodium citrate. Okay, this is actually Ca3 trisodium citrate is, if you write in formula, it will be Na, let me write this, Na3C6 and then H5O7. H5, this is the formula, right? And O7, right? This is the formula of this thing. So trisodium citrate, this is the chemical formula. Anyway, I may be wrong, just check with your chemistry teacher. So it was mixed with, I didn't know that, did you, sir? I didn't know. So the technique was that to keep the blood liquid, not getting clotted, they mixed this much of 8.3% of trisodium citrate. Didn't know that, did you? The governor shook his head. No, governor didn't know. Okay, so heads in a token of reluctant admiration. Reluctant admiration, when you are reluctant to answer. Admiration means when you praise somebody. Actually, he wanted to appreciate their talent. We learn something new every day. They tell me, come on, my lad. My lad means my lad. L-A-D. Lad means boy. Okay. So we learn something new every day. So today also the governor learned that if you mix trisodium citrate, then the blood doesn't get frozen or clotted. Evans made no show of resistance, and side by side the two men walked slowly down the stairs. Tell me, Evans, how did you manage to plan all these businesses? You have no visitors. I've seen to that. You have had no letters. I've got lots of friends, though. What's that supposed to mean? My German teacher, actually, my German teacher for the start. You mean, but he was from technical college, was he? Evans was almost enjoying it all now. Ever check up on him, sir? God Almighty. There's far more going on than governor cannot believe that all these things were going on in the background. Always will be, sir. Everything's ready? Asked the governor as they stood by the reception desk. And advanced out the front, sir, said the pretty blonde receptionist. Advance out the front, sir, said the pretty blonde receptionist. Now this receptionist most likely was the governor's man. Evans winked at her and she winked back at him. It almost made his day. It means he was feeling very happy after winking at the receptionist. So now it may be this receptionist was also the part of Evans' gang. A silent prison officer handcuffed and recaptured Evans, and together the two men clambered. Clambered means when you climb up something with a little difficulties, clambered awkwardly into the back seat of the prison van. See you soon, Evans. It was almost as if the governor was saying farewell to an old friend after a cocktail party. Cocktail party is a kind of drink party. So after a party, as if you were giving farewell to sending of your friend. Okay, cheerio, sir. C-H-E-E-R-A. Cheerio, sir. Actually, it is a cheer on, sir, right? Cheer on, C-H-E-E-R. Cheer on, sir. I was just wondering, I know you're German pretty good, sir, but do you know any more of these modern languages? Not very well. Why? Evans settled himself comfortably on the back seat. Settle means he sat in the van comfortably and grinned happily. He smiled happily. Nothing really. I just happened to notice. Actually, it is happened to notice that you've got some O-level Italian classes coming next September. That's all. He jokingly told him about his Italian class because O-level. So he said, happened to notice that you've got some O-level Italian classes coming next September. So actually he himself started his classes from German classes from September. So he was joking him. Probably next September Italian class going to start. Perhaps you won't be with us next September, Evans. You won't be with us. James Roderick Evans appeared to ponder the governor's words deeply. Ponder means deeply thinking. No, when you ponder something, you think deeply. Ponder the governor's words deeply. No, perhaps I won't, he said, as the prison van turned right from Chipping Norton onto the Oxford Road. The here to silent prison officer, here to means all this while, as long as this time, here to, up to this time. Silent prison officer unlocked the handcuffs and leaned forward towards the driver. For Christ's sake, get a move on. It won't take them actually it won't take them long to find out. Where do you suggest we make for? Make for means we head for, we go to, asked the driver in a broad Scot accent. Now, children, do you understand who used to speak in broad Scot accent? Mr. McLeery, right? And what's about Newbury? Suggested Evans. Now, Evans suggested, let's move on to Newbury. Why? Because they had already checked Newbury and they found nothing. Now, Evans thought that if they would go towards Newbury, it would be easy for them not to be easily caught by the police again. So it was that way they decided to move on to Newbury. So dear students, dear friends, thank you very much for being with me so long. It's a pretty long lesson and it took me around 7 parts to finish this lesson, to go line by line, and I tried to explain. If you have any question, you are most welcome to write in the comment section. I will try to answer it, or else you can visit my I've given my what is called email address in my website, at my website paulmasih.com, Paul Academy. Just check that. There you send an email. I will try to answer you back and clear your doubt. If you have any question, any doubt. And if possible, I'll give you one summary part where the tricks and twists of this story will be there, which will help you a lot to once more sum up the whole thing, because it is a very long story and I really admired your patience to be with me so long and to go through all these lessons line by line. And this time it's going to be a very tricky question. You have seen that already the sample paper they have given herring's technique. That is, I'm planning to make one short video on herring, what is herring techniques. Okay, so thank you once again for being with me and for your support and for your encouragement. If you have liked this video, please share it with your friends, put your comments and give me the thumbs up. It always encourages me and helps me to make more and more videos for you. So dear friends, bye for now. Have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Bye.